So I started this channel to learn about Finland, and one video I thought would be interesting to watch is this. It's called Visit Finland, 10 things that will shock you about Finland. So interested to know if I'll be shocked by these, interested to know if I have known about these things. Let's check it out, and if you're from Finland, you can tell me what you think about these.
Moi fellow travelers, Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're in Turku, Finland, my old stomping grounds. I actually was an exchange student here back in high school, and I love this city and I love this country and I really enjoyed my time here. And today what we have for you are the 10 things that might shock tourists when they come here to Finland. And the first thing that's going to shock you when you come here is, they're naked! Yes, the Finns get naked when they go to sauna. It's not sauna, it's sauna, okay? And if you're not sure what a sauna is, that's that when it's the hot stones and the fire and they pour the water on it, it steams up, you know, your steam room kind of thing, their sauna. This is from here. I mean, people have them in their homes, okay? And it's one of the things you have to do when you come. But the thing that shocks tourists, especially modest tourists from America, is look, you go in the buck. You go au natural with everything hanging out, no matter how big, how little, how small, how crazy it is, you do that, okay? Now usually I will say it's with same sexes you're going to do those things, but that is one of the things that do shock tourists. If you look online, that's where a lot of travel videos will get things like, oh, I'm naked in the Finnish sauna. Yes, everyone's naked in the Finnish sauna, so don't be shocked by that, okay? Now,
yeah, I think
when you talk to the Finns, one other thing that's going to shock you, my second one.
Okay, so yeah, the sauna, of course I've been in saunas before. Usually when I go to like the gym or something like that, I really enjoy it. I find it very relaxing. Something that I've been to since I was very young, but I've never been to one naked. I'm from the UK, I'm British, so I feel like I'm very reserved. I feel like I'd be embarrassed to go into one naked, but I guess that's just part of Finnish culture and what people in Finland are used to doing. But yeah, tell me about your experiences in saunas. Is it something? How often do you go to them, or how often do you use them? Do you have one in your house? It's an interesting part of Finnish culture.
On this list is the Finns can actually talk while breathing in, which for me is shocking and disturbing at the same time. And when they do that, it's usually when they're doing like a positive or like an affirmative answer. So, for example, you might say yo or kyllä for yes or yeah in Finnish, and you might say, hey, are you going out tonight? Yo. They'll say, like, breathe in while they talk, and you'll say, are you sure? Kyllä, kyllä, kyllä. And they like breathe in while they talk. You're like, oh my God, how do you do that? And the thing is, when they'll start speaking English, and they speak English really well here, when they start doing that, they'll be going in and out. So it's like, hi, my name's Mark Walters. How are you doing today? Doing quite well, how are you? And I'm like, I mean, I can't even do it myself. It's hi, my name is Mark Walters. How are you doing today? It goes back and forth. It's like, oh my God, don't do that. And
yeah, I don't think I've seen that in any other language. It's not a technique to speak that I've ever witnessed before, but it seems very interesting. Tell me if that's just the way Finnish people normally speak. For me, the Finnish language is something I want to learn more about as well. It seems like a very interesting, relatively unique language. I know how similar it is to Estonian, but in terms of every other country, very unique. So can't wait to learn more about that as well. Tell me if there's any good videos to watch on the Finnish language.
The thing is, I'm sure you're trying to do that right now, and you're like, and you'll start coughing and get. So it is one of the things that is kind of a bit different when you are here. Now, the third thing that's going to shock you when you come here is how much the Finns love nature. And it's not just the all-natural part of the sauna, it's just nature in general. This is a clean, pristine country. And the thing is they go out and they enjoy the nature. You'll hear people going, oh, I'm going to my summer house at the lake, or I'm going to my summer house on the island and doing these things, and they love to go out there. Mushroom hunting, it's not just for old people, young people do that here as well. And you really have this really good sense of nature when you are here, and you will see that with the clean air and stuff like that. I know when we flew back, we flew Finnair to China a couple years ago, and we got a nice layover here in Finland. It was so nice, like, oh my gosh, this air is so clean and pure, and it's so nice. And they really take care of their nature here, so that is really cool. And the fourth thing
yeah, that one doesn't really shock me, actually. I can imagine that Finnish people are very outdoors people. They appreciate the nature. That's one thing I do know about Finland, is the vastness of the nature and landscapes and things like that. Very beautiful, a lot of forests, a lot of greenery. So if you've got it, you may as well appreciate it. The fresh air is something I could really do with. I live in Malaysia. I'm from Scotland, but I live in Malaysia. I lived in Asia for the last 12 years. So the air quality is just not good. I need to go to somewhere like Finland and just stay for a week and breathe in some clean air. I've not had it for a long time.
What might shock you when you come to Finland is how much they really enjoy silence when you are here in Finland. Like the Finns really like to contemplate. They've got this kind of thinking look on their face and stuff like that. And it is silent. I mean, we took the train from Helsinki to here in Turku, and literally the only people talking were my kids, us saying, shh, be quiet, and then a group of other American tourists that were just loud as hell, and nobody else was talking. And that silence, it's amazing. Like, I feel bad doing this video now because there's all these people being quiet along the waterfront and stuff, and you do have that silence here. But don't take that silence as a, we don't like to talk. Because when you get to speak to Finns, man, they are up to date on the news, the world, and all over the place, and they'll talk to you about stuff from all over, and they're very knowledgeable, which is really cool, because you're like, wow, I didn't think you wanted to talk, and now we're discussing the ramification of a peace treaty that happened 30 years ago in this other place, and it is really cool, okay?
I love that. That is my type of place. I, by nature, am generally more quiet and just, not because I'm not outgoing. I love to talk to people, but I love silence as well. I can really appreciate that. And I love to hear that Finnish people are just very knowledgeable and they seem like very interesting people to talk to. I would love to have some conversations as well as having some quiet time as well.
Now the fifth thing is,
I mean, I have 2 young children. I live in Malaysia. Before this, I lived in Thailand and China. I've not had silence for over a decade.
going to shock you is how much the Finns really enjoy cleanliness, okay? Now, I know I talked about the clean nature, and you will see that. You know, you don't see too much graffiti, you don't see garbage on the ground, you'll see signs that, hey, pick up, you'll see people picking up after themselves and things like that, and they really enjoy that cleanliness, and it is, like, shocking how clean it is here, but also that cleanliness also goes into the food. I mean, I remember my friends could literally, like, I don't want to eat peels, I don't want to get that on me, and they would stab it with a fork, and literally, like, and by the time you say Salmiakki kosu, they go, shoo, the skin is off the potato. You're like, how did you do that? It was like knife to fork and it was gone.
Can you do that?
They're amazing with peeling their stuff here and getting that skin off. It was hilarious in the school. People are like, what are you doing eating that stuff? I'm like, it's too hard. I lose too much. And they're like, here, I'll do it for you. And also, probably another thing is that cleanliness I've seen a few times where I actually saw people eating a hamburger with a fork and knife. Now, they were older couples, but I still remember the first day I got here, I went and, you know, not first day, like the first week or so, and I go into Hesburger, the local burger chain here. You gotta go, it's great. And this guy cutting his fork and knife with his thing, and I'm like, what the heck? But yeah, cleanliness, really, really a big deal. Also, if you go in their house, always take off your shoes, because that cleanliness also goes into their homes. You'll see that there too, okay? So take your shoes off. They might have slippers for you, they might not, but no shoes in the house. Remember, cleanliness is next to Finnishness, okay?
That's very interesting. That's 2 extremes of differences and similarities with Asia. With regards to the taking off the shoes, that's all that people do here in Malaysia. In Asia, you just do not step inside the house with shoes on. It's a no-no. My wife like brainwashed me. I used to wear shoes in the house. I'm from the UK, it's normal. But when I came here, she's like, no shoes in the house. Now, I would never step inside. But with regards to the cleanliness, I really appreciate that as well. I'm definitely more on that side. Again, I lived in Shanghai before. When you go to eat food at the restaurant, there's food everywhere. I see people eating like chicken feet, putting the toenails beside their plate and things. Ugh, it's not great, but I like the Finnish way of life in that respect.
Now the 6th thing that might shock you when you come here are the nasty little tasty surprises you have when you are here. Now there are some really good things to have. Like I do suggest having reindeer when you're here, and literally anything made with mushrooms in this country is fantastic, okay? But they have some pretty interesting and kind of like nasty foods here occasionally, and it's also one of the things you'll see the most isn't the candy, okay? Now they have good candy too, but then they have salmiakki. Salmiakki is like if black licorice and salt had a baby, and not one of those cute adorable babies, one of those ugly babies, you don't tell your friends their babies are ugly, that's what salmiakki is, and they love it here, and you'll see it all over the place. And what sometimes they'll do is they'll actually melt it down and mix it with Koskenkorva, like a local liquor here, and drink that because the taste is so strong, it will knock out the flavor of really strong alcohol. Like that's how strong it is. So it is kind of, and then there's like Turkish pepper. Oh, that's another one that we've got a video of our kids trying out the candies, and you'll see how interesting it is, okay? But the thing is oh, I can't forget Mati Hutala, my host father. He enjoyed Easter Sunday where he got mammy for me, which is like a pudding that's made out of rye. It looks like chocolate pudding, but it's not. And he goes, here, have a big bowl. And I'm like, why don't you have any? Oh, we want you to have more. And so I take a big spoonful thinking it's chocolate and it's mammy. I bite into it, I'm like, oh. But I was a good exchange student, and I ate the whole bowl, and he's just laughing. I'm like, well, he's like, I hate that stuff. I would never eat that. I just want to see if you'd be polite enough to do it. I still laugh about that. That's like 20 years ago it happened, but yeah, there's some not so great treats here, but there are some good ones as well, so do experiment a bit. Now the seventh thing.
Yeah, tell me more about salmiakki. I've seen that on Geography Now for Finland. I've never heard of it before. It seems interesting. I'm not the biggest licorice fan, but anytime I go to any different country, I always like to try their delicacies, their favourite foods and things like that. So I would definitely like to try it. Tell me how popular it is in Finland.
The thing that might shock you when you come here is there's no he or she in Finnish. Basically, the Finnish language is incomprehensible to pretty much anybody, except for like some Estonians, okay? And you'll see the letters like, wait, there's a lot of I's back to back, and like, I don't know what any of these things are. You're not going to be able to decipher any of the Finnish. Now, the Swedish, yes, but the Finnish, no. Okay, so don't worry about that. They speak English super well here. But the thing is the only time they really make mistakes is when it's he and she, because they just have han. And han is like he and she together, and so they do that. So you have this wonderful conversation. Like, was she talking about he? Were they talking about he or she? And that's just one of the little mistakes they make. And I guess another thing you might notice with the language is how monotone it can be sometimes. When you hear the Finns speaking Finnish, it sounds mitä kuuluu, kiitos hyvä. You know, sometimes it seems kind of monotone, and sometimes that transfers over when they speak English and stuff like that. But only sometimes. But it is that wait, you speak perfect English, but there's only one mistake you make, and that's from that han. Okay, so you know that one. All right. Now
hey, that's very interesting as well, because in Malaysian, I speak Bahasa Melayu, which is the Malaysian language, but it's the same for he and she. They just use one word, dia. So sometimes when you're speaking to someone Malaysian, they will sometimes say he for a girl or she for a boy. It's just they get that a little bit mixed up. So very interesting that there's that similarity with Malaysia as well. And yeah, I can understand why that would be. It might shock some people. I don't think it would shock me.
Anything that's going to shock you when you come here kind of goes off of the language. Is that actually there's two official languages here, Finnish and Swedish, and the shock that you'll have is when you see there's different names for different cities. So Turku is also known as Åbo in Swedish, okay? And so you might be like, wait, I thought we were going to Turku. Why are we in Åbo? What's going on? And you have that like little mini tourist heart attack when you think, did I get on the wrong bus? Did I get on the wrong train? Look, just know that there's going to be two names for some of these places, and sometimes they're really similar, like Helsinki and its version in Swedish, but like Turku and Åbo is completely different, and that can get you a little shocked in that scary way, but it's okay. The people speak English here great, so you'll be fine.
So, people from Finland, like, how much of Swedish can they actually understand? Are Finnish people fluent in Swedish? Or can you understand like a certain percentage of the Swedish language? Does it vary between people? Do you learn Swedish in school?
Now the ninth thing that might shock you or make you go, when you come here to Finland is Finnish logic. Now the Finns, like I said, they like to contemplate these kind of things. They really think deeply on a lot of things. But sometimes you see something and go, what were they thinking? I'm kind of confused here. You know, I remember I was skiing in the north up in Levi, and I actually broke my collarbone almost out of the skin. And I remember thinking why does the line for the ski lift go across the bottom of the ski slope, and we were in Stockman in Helsinki, and we're thinking, oh well, these elevators go up, so the other side must go down, and the other side only goes down one, and then there's no more going down. You're like, wait, why wouldn't you have that? There's just these little things you notice that make you go, okay, you know, and that's one of the things is if you have seen any Finnish logic where you're like, okay, I mean, it makes sense, but I'm not sure how that makes sense. Please put that in the comment section below, because that was one of the things, as living here as a foreigner, that really got us all, it always gave us something to talk about, like, hey, I got another Finnish logic one today, which was kind of, it was nothing bad, it was just kind of like a silly little thing. And the 10th thing that might shock you about coming to Finland is, as much as the people love their alcohol, and you will see more than a few people that might be a little bit too tipsy for their own good sometimes, okay, I won't lie to you about that.
I definitely see similarities with that in Scotland. We also have that that way of life as well.
But for all that liking of the drinking, whether it's Lapin Kulto, yes, Finlandia Vodka, or Salmiakki Koskenkorva, they make that at home. But anyway, for much as they love their alcohol, you can't buy the hard stuff in the stores. You have to go to Alko. Okay, that's the government-run alcohol store to get stronger stuff, okay? And the thing is I mean, it's actually a great name. Alko's a perfect name for what it is, but that's one of those things. So and it has kind of strange hours sometimes. So if you're going to be here for a party, you want to pick stuff up because it can be a little pricey in the bars and restaurants to drink. So maybe you want to drink at your hotel beforehand or whatever. You might want to stop by Alko beforehand to pick some stuff up. So you do have that. Anyway, those are just 10 little fun, shocking.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Tell me why there is a separate store for hard liquor. Is it just to try and reduce the amount that people buy and consume? But really interesting, 10 interesting things. Really cool to learn a bit more about Finnish culture and the Finnish way of life. So tell me what you think about them if you're from Finland. Tell me some other interesting things about Finland as well, and recommend some other videos that I should watch also. Thanks.